Hi guys and welcome back to Chengisworld. Guys, I'm so glad to see you again, and for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and so you can join this big old family and be part of my world. And I look forward to seeing you guys come back again. And for those of you who are back, you know how I do. Love you. Make sure you like, share and comment on the video if you like it. So today I'm going to be reading Shami's email message to me on Instagram, and this is one of the strawberry letters that I'm going to be doing. I asked if it was okay for me to share. So we're going to get right into it because I've got a lot to say back to Shami because she needs me. Right, so hi Chengi, my name is Shamar. I'm a Zimbabwean too. That is so cool, right? So this is going to be really juicy. I'm from Canada and I'm a university student. I am turning 20 next month. I am curious as to why guys don't or won't approach me. I mean, I'm not ugly, nor am I the most beautiful girl in the room, which doesn't bother me. Good. I'm learning to love the two things I don't like about myself. But other than that, I'm pretty confident and comfortable in my skin. Good girl. On the rare occasion someone does, it's never the one I want. She's got the emoticon. A lot of fun. I mean, I'm not shallow and only want hot guys, which I honestly don't mind. But can't even a decent and average guy come along? Why is it, to be extreme, the cringeworthy ones that come? I mean, situations like these can get a girl thinking. You'll start to wonder if you're deluding yourself into thinking you're somewhat attractive. Or in my case, the two things I don't like about myself. Kiss my... Okay, I'm not going to read that. When standing straight, my knees touch but ankles don't. Or my tummy, basically my midsection, which honestly isn't that bad. You know, I start thinking and self-doubt and low self-esteem start to creep in. I'm not bragging or anything, just stating that I'm one of those few girls my age who is still a virgin. Ain't nobody got time for soul ties and the spiritual problems they bring, and amen, sister. But can't I just get some male attention? Girls my age are flocked by males left, right and center. What is it I'm doing? Am I not outgoing enough? Or is it because I don't put on makeup? Still not allowed. My parents won't allow it. Or is it my resting bitch face? Can't help that one. My face is just like that. Or is it because I'm quiet? What is it? But funny thing is, even if someone is to ask me out, my first, without thought, is no. Because my dad says no and I'm just obedient. Or that Zimbabwean culture that had beaten into my skull that boy and girl relationships are bad and that you're going to get pregnant and shunned. I mean, I haven't even kissed. I'm 20. Please help me, Aunt Chengi. Hope you don't mind. I view you as an older sis, but I'm way younger than you to think of you as a sister, but instead my cool young aunt. Oh, that is well cool. Well, honey bunny, you can call me Auntie Chengi anytime, you know what I'm saying? Last time I was like, I think now that I'm turning 40, I'm qualifying for auntie status, and I've got nieces way older than you, so auntie works for me. So listen to Auntie Cheng. So you have a lot of stuff in here, and I just want to be able to sort of address as much as I can as possible. But first and foremost, I want to say that the one major stark staring in your face answer that I can give you in general and to anyone around your age is that you are at a stage and at a place where men your age are not ready to settle. They are not ready to really do the boyfriend thing. They are at a stage now. A lot of men in their 20s are in the sexual exploration stage in life, and most girls as well. But it's that stage in life where they are probably starting to make a little bit of money. Maybe they've got a weekend job or part-time job, or starting to make some little bit of money. Still live with mom and dad, so still dependent. But now they're sort of coming and they're going out for sexual exploration. a man in his 20s is not thinking marriage. He's not thinking settling down. He's really thinking of exploring. How many girls can he sleep with? How many girls can he get into his bed? How many times can he score? I'm not saying this is true for every guy in his 20s, but pretty much that is about the mindset. And what happens is men are, because they are hunters by nature, what they do is if they're hunting for fun, then a girl like you and your read, from the sound of it, is not going to read to a guy, this is a girl that I can shag. This is not a girl I can get into bed as quickly, as cheaply as possible. Because I always say we're spirits that have a soul and live in a body. So when we walk into the room, we read people spiritually. We're just not always conscious, or the information doesn't always come to the conscious mind, but it does get to us. And you remind me so much of myself. When I read this letter, I thought, oh my God, this is me when I was 20 if I wasn't married. But growing up, this was very much my reality. None of the boys in school would ask me out. None of them would ask me out for anything. If there was a school party, a prom or anything, I would have to go and ask a guy who didn't go to my school, as if I'm asking him for a favor. And I used to feel like, but is it because I'm not pretty? But it had nothing to do with that until a guy friend of mine, I think I've said it in other videos, said to me, Chengi, you're just the girl that we marry. You're not the girl we go out with. You're the girl that we marry. And what he was trying to say is, instantly we can read if a girl is the sort of girl that when we get to a certain stage in life, this is the sort of woman we want. This is the woman we want to marry. And like I've said in other videos, men marry virtue, not vaginas. So having virtue is just the most amazing thing. But you have it at an age where the men around your age are not interested in virtue right now. They're looking for the girls with a low self-esteem and the short skirts and the low tops. Okay, so they're walking into a room and they're going for the girls that they feel that with a few dates, without too much effort, they can have sex with them, dump them and not feel any kind of way. But men don't, most men that age, they just can't be bothered to deal with a good girl, really. And so what will happen is, for you to actually find a guy who will appreciate you and gravitate, and his energy gravitates to your virtuous energy, usually they're going to be older guys. And what I found is, when I was 18, my first boyfriend was like 25. That's, or 27, but much older than me. And obviously in Zimbabwe, that's kind of not bad marriage. If a guy's looking to date a girl for a few years and then marry her, he's at that stage. And so I found that I was always attracting much older men in their 30s, men in their 40s, because they are at that point ready to settle down. Well, the 40s was sugar daddies, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got time for that. But they're those guys who are now ready to find a wife, settle down and get married. They're not really bothered by any other kind of energy. They're not really bothered by does she wear makeup or not. What they want is a good woman who would stay home, have the babies, and just be a good girl. So I found that I was sort of attracting men that were much older, which is not a good thing when you are quite young, because you still must go through certain life processes in order to succeed in a relationship. So that's the first thing, is that because you are clearly a very virtuous girl, I would recommend you watch Do Looks Matter, my video that I've done on this channel, Do Looks Matter, because in there I talk about the role that looks and appearance play. In your case, I really don't think, I've seen your Instagram photo, and I really don't think that you're anything other than beautiful as you are, whether you wear makeup or not. And I think if you did anything to attract a man that is not natural within you, if you're a natural girl, like I say, take care of skin, just love yourself, because there are guys out there who are really drawn to that sort of thing. But if you started wearing makeup because you wanted to attract a guy, that is bad energy and that is a bad signal. And what will happen is you will attract the wrong sort of guys. So everything that I say, whenever you groom yourself or whatever you do in life, let the true authentic self that you are attract a man. Don't add stuff to yourself that you are not. in order to attract a man. And you are obviously in your evolution, and if you were raised not to wear makeup because it's for bad girls, because a lot of African Zimbabwean girls were brought up, I wasn't, but a lot of women around my age, girls growing up my age, were told that girls who wear makeup are loose girls. You know, my mum taught me to wear makeup when I was 14 because she thought a lady must always be well groomed from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. So she already taught all the girls how to wear makeup. So we were very confident, we're very modern in many ways. So it's not a battle that I had, but I know that growing up, it was very much, if you want to be a whore, then you wear makeup. So that's something obviously that you will eventually outgrow. You will get to a point where you will want to just experiment and try and see, and you know, makeup now symbolizes so many other things. It's a professional look, it's the modern look. So I found a lot of black women are starting to really just see makeup as part of their dress and part of the accessories. So it's something that you will evolve into, if one day, maybe not, as you just explore and want to sort of, but it's not something that I would say go and wear some makeup and put some high heels on so you can get a guy. Definitely not. Stay authentic. And then, you know, you speak of your resting bitch face. I love that. Oh my God. I think I might just adopt that for myself. I used to have something like that. Guys always used to say to me, girl, you look like, don't talk to me. And I think, really? They're like, yeah, you look like you don't even, I remember a black guy once said to me, you look like you don't even date the brothers. I was like, really? You know, it was really like, but I know that the phase that you're talking about is a defense mechanism, because when you are hammered into you, the girl-boy relationships, dating is going to lead you to pregnancy. So how I was brought up. I was brought up to believe that if you even touch a boy's hand, you're going to get pregnant. And I understand why, because putting the fear of God in your girls was the only way that you could protect them as far as our parents were concerned, or even people my generation. I do it to my son sometimes. I try not to, but I do instill unnecessary fear in him, because I would rather he just stays away. So a lot of parenting that we do sometimes is fear driven, because we just want to protect our children. We want to protect them, and if they're afraid of the worst possible thing happening, then they're just not going to do it. But what we do in the same process is we damage them and not give them a fuller experience. And one of the things that I do with my son is really take time to explain why I have a rule and how that rule will serve him, and get him to a place of understanding and asking questions. But unfortunately, that's modern parenting. It's not how we were parented. It's not how I was parented. So of course, if I just touch a boy's hand, I'm going to end up pregnant. So the doctrine of dating was not something that our parents were happy to do. But then when you get to a certain age, where's your husband? Where's your husband? You're not bringing a husband. We're worried about you. Well, you know, and then of course, the longer you don't date, the less and less you build your skills for dating. So there are a lot of things here. So what happens is you're obviously saying, look, so what has happened is you've built a defense mechanism. You've built this wall that says no men, please. You don't realize it's there, but it's part of your thinking, it's part of your energy. So what's happening is that energy and that wall is going up. And first and foremost, guys who just want to get laid, which would be 90%, I would say, of the guys in your world, they're not going to approach you. They're just not going to approach you. Unless you are willing to de-virtue yourself, which I would not recommend. They just won't approach you. But what they will do is earmark you for a time in their lives when they're ready. And that's what guys do. They earmark you. I used to have this guy say, Chengi, I'm going to marry you. But he would date every other girl, and he was, you know, really hot in school. I used to like him, and he'd say, I'm going to marry you. You know I'm going to marry you. Your brother says I can marry you. So, you know, I was like, can't you just date me now? But he wanted to have a bit of fun. So it was always like, I'm earmarking you for a point in future, and that's what's going to happen. But the ones the 10% that are left are going to be guys who probably are wired like you, who do respect virtue. But unfortunately, guys who are wired like you and respect virtue also tend to lack that game. They tend to lack, they don't have game in the same kind of way. They don't have swagger in the same kind of way, because they were raised to be gentlemen. They were raised to be men. So they don't have the swagger. They don't always present well. They don't know how to talk to girls in such a way. They don't know how to trigger attraction in women. So you end up with these kind of go away. And believe it or not, even at my age, I still get that whole kind of hello, you know, how did you go away from an encounter with me and think, okay, I'm the girl, I'm the guy for her, you know? But one of the things that's happened with me is because I'm more mature and I've opened myself and my heart up to, you know, sort of giving everyone a chance. And this is something that I really want to teach you. right now you're at a, it's almost like you're wearing your training bra, you're the tricycle, with the two wheels in the back. I want you to really begin to rethink your whole attitude towards dating. You need to rethink your whole attitude and start to realize that dating is not for mating, which I've said a few times. Dating is for gathering data, and you need to practice. You need to practice how to gather data. You need to practice how to be around a man. You need to get comfortable in that space, and you need to read the types of men that they are. This is an important skill that I lacked and caused me to make a lot of bad life-changing decisions. So for you, what I want you to do is have a rethink and think to yourself, I don't have to be physically interested per se in the guy that is asking me out. It doesn't have to be the catch. I don't have to have butterflies in my stomach. But what I need to do is get experience for when the catch comes along, because I truly believe there's a catch for everyone. Even at 20, you can meet yourself a nice hot guy, but if you have no experience, he's gonna meet the resting bitch face, he's gonna meet the closed off, I don't know how to deal with men, and then he's gonna walk away because he can't be dealing with that. But what happens is when you date guys that you're not interested in, guys that you think, nah, date that guy, go on a date with him, know how to dress up, know what you can expect a man to do for you, but because you don't fancy him, you're going to have your standards, because you're not going to jump into bed, you're not emotionally crazy about him, he's the one trying to win you. So what's going to happen is, with your standards, you're going to be able to keep them, you're going to have to practice, and you're going to be able to see how he responds to certain things. You're going to learn how to flirt, you're going to learn how to have banter, and you're going to learn how to have insight and begin to understand men, because life is about practicing for the real deal. Because life sometimes is you go through a rehearsal before the big show, and the problem is many times we're not prepared for when the one that we want comes, because we haven't been practicing. We're still this little girl that's not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that. And when we meet him, we think that we're just gonna all of a sudden switch into confident, I know what I want, I know who I am, and I'm just gonna, we think we're gonna switch into it, but you don't. You get into a flow. And you always practice with men that you don't want. You always practice with guys that you don't want. So from now on, I want you to think practice. Practice how it feels when you sit across a table with a guy and you finish having a meal and the bill comes. Practice how you say thank you. Practice how you dress. Practice. Practice is what makes perfect. You can watch all of my videos on this channel, but unless you actually go out there and think, I don't like this. And when you're dating a guy, oh, I quite like that about, oh, I like this, I don't like that. Oh, actually, I'm not as shallow as I thought I was. Actually, I'm glad I gave you a chance. And what will happen is a lot of treasures are hidden behind our prejudice. I've always said this and I keep saying it. Whatever you're prejudiced against, usually that's where your blessing is. So the one guy that you're there thinking, oh, God, help me, Jesus, I can't do it. Usually that guy might be your prince. And a lot of the things that are putting you off right now are probably cosmetic, and they can probably be changed. Another thing about dating, even guys you don't want, is the scripture in the Bible that says, he who has, more shall be added to him, and he who does not have, even the little that he has shall be taken away. That is talking about a spiritual principle. That is, if you have one, many more will come. If whoever has something, whatever you have, if you have kindness, much more kindness will come. If you have a man, then men attracted to where other men are. So right now, spiritually, you're reading and no one wants me. That's your thing. But you have men who want you. You just don't want them because you think ill, right? So what you need to do is have men in your life. You see, the thing is, why I was able to sometimes date 5 or 6 guys at the same time, date guys, not mate, but the reason I was able to do this is because when you have one, I don't know, it's like a magnet, like 5 more want. There's something about a woman with something. When I got engaged the first time, the fact that I had a ring on my finger, every man seemed to want me. A married woman is probably the most attractive woman on earth. There's something about someone that is taken. There's something about somebody whose energy is taken that makes them that bit more sexy, which is why you have so much more, you know, of this sort of crimes and whatever going on in terms of women taking other men's women. There's nothing more attractive than a man with a woman. So what you need to do, and so there's a few principles here. You're going to get the practice by dating the guy you don't fancy, that you think ill. You're going to also create the energy of men around you. So even the one that you want will instinctively begin to gravitate towards you. So those are the two principles. And in general, I'm just going to say to you, begin to do positive affirmations. Begin to talk about the kind of man that you attract. I attract men that are da 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 da. Write down the values and the virtues that you want in a guy, and begin to proclaim it. I am a woman that attracts men that are handsome, that are kind, that are, you know, thoughtful, that want me. I am wanted. I am pursued. I have no lack of men. I am happy. I am radiant. I am gorgeous. I am effervescent. You know, say that and write it down and say it every day, and you will begin to change your energy. My face is warm and welcoming and beautiful. You know, so change a lot of how you perceive yourself, because truth in life is that how we see ourselves is how we project ourselves, and that's what people see. So that's the little bit that I can say. Otherwise, I will go on and on and on and on forever. I just want to make sure that I've answered absolutely everything. So go watch the video. Do Looks Matter, and go and just have a time of practice and see how that goes. So I hope this is really, really helpful for you, my darling Shami, and I will speak to you soon. Let me know how it all goes, and let me know when you're going on your first date. Okie dokie. So you want to watch my first date success, and you want to start getting ready, and you know, just getting yourself into the right frame of mind. And for all of you guys who are feeling the same way and thinking, ew, every girl gets an ill guy. Even the most experienced and the most beautiful and the most amazing woman will get guys like that and go through a season like that. But that's usually opening her heart. It's usually a challenge to open your heart to something new and to challenge your prejudice. And you never know. I mean, great things have happened to me when I've bothered to date the ill kind of guy. So I certainly hope that this was really helpful for you, and I will see you again soon. Take care of you. Love you guys. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Mwah. Bye-bye now.